Masechta Bava basra. Daf Pei Zayin Amud Aleph. We're starting from Pei Vav Amud Beis, from the second line from the bottom. Toshma. So now the Gemara says about the words of Rav and Shmuel that if somebody makes a deal, he says a kur is 30 sa. For each sa bisela. First he says, I'm selling you a kur of 30 sa. A whole kur is a whole package. So officially, if he only said those words, as long as he didn't fill up to 30 sa, either he could back out. But once he does 30 sa, he fills it up 30 sa, nobody could back out. But over here he said another thing. He said, heavy piece of bisela. So Teisin Dvarav Achrein, we go after the last lashon. So if it's Evi Saw, so he's kind of right away, Evi Saw on this one. No, I can't. From the first Saw, I can't. Because Evi Saw, because he said, is a separate sale. Okay, so the woman has a kasha on this. Tashma, come in here. Somebody who hires a worker, that he should work for him during the time of harvesting, of cutting and gathering the tvua from the field, and he gives him a payment up front. And he says, listen, I'm going to give you money up front. Now is not yet the season of harvesting, but you want money, so I'm going to give you 30 dinar. And but when the harvesting comes, you can only charge me a dinar a day, even though Ula Goyram is Yafasela. But really, for harvesting, every worker gets 4 dinar. So look, what's the problem of it?
Now for nothing.
Huh?
No, pay you for nothing.
Now I'm giving you money up front, so that when the time comes for harvesting, you only charge me a dinar per day instead of 4 dinar a day. No, he's paying him. He's not working. He's just giving him money up front. And he says when the time that it comes to work to harvesting, you'll only get a dinar per day, even though the price for a worker. Exactly. Asluhanis minanu says you're not allowed to have a no. Why? Because what is ribis? You give a guy for holding the money. I give you to hold the money, but you pay me interest. So over here, he gave him money before work, and he's paying him interest. That when the time of harvesting comes, he only pays him. He only has to pay 1 dinar instead of 4 dinar. So
actually paying him because he already paid him in advance.
He lent him the money. He's paying him back that he's only going to work a dinar per day. Says you want to what's if he says you're hired now? It's a dinar per day, and you can only charge me a dinar per day even through the season of harvesting. Now it's a month before harvesting, so taka today it's a dinar per day, but through the time of harvesting it's only a dinar per day. Says you want even though for the time of harvesting it should be 4 dinarim, mutter it's mutter. Why? Because here it's not ibis. He's working already, and he's taking per day per work.
He made up with him like this.
Huh? He made up. He's working here. He says since the pile started to work immediately, and he took him for the whole kufa, even through he took him for the whole season, even through the harvesting time, right? From Nisan, he took him. Let's say, and let's say Iyar Sivan is the time for Gaidan. But he says, I'm paying you for the season of this Niyah and Siva. And he pays him a dinar per day. So here it's not like he lent him money. He didn't give him money up front for work. He gave him money and now he's working every day.
What is he doing? It's not harvesting time.
Doesn't matter. He's doing other job. He's working for him. A dinar per day. He's to hire him. He hired him for whatever I need you for. Now I need you for this. Time of harvesting, I need you for that. It's a dinar per day. And it's not like before, he gave money up front and they're waiting for the harvest season. And then it's like he's giving him ribis. Here, no, he started to work right away. So he says there's no like hagdama of giving him money. The whole union of ribis is I gave you money and you're sitting on the money for time. And you're paying for that time that later on I'm going to pay you back. When it comes to harvesting, I'll only take a dinar instead of 4. Says, what if he's salka? Now we got a problem here. He paid him up front. You're right. He paid him up front for the work. That's your allowed. But he's going to be working for the money every day. Says the Gemara, but what did we say before? If he said Kirbish Leishim, then it's Karibish Shleishim, then the deal is a deal that only when it fills up to 30, it's going to be a deal. But if he ended off saying, so, that for every so I'm going to charge you a seller, so for every seller is a separate deal. Over there you say Rishon is Kana. Every one is a separate deal. Each day is a separate deal. So the when he gave him the 30 dinarim, that's like waiting. He's holding on like halva. Why? Because each day is a separate deal. He didn't take him for the package deal.
So the next
For
day
the,
he's holding 29, the next day he's holding 29.
yeah, correct. But the Pearl Mamish, it's not that he paid for 30 days.
So he could use this
So
28.
sure he could, but I'm saying the money that he gave, it's like ribis, it's halva, because he didn't pay him for all 30. If he would have said it's for all 30 days, and he wouldn't say each day a dinar, I hear you. He told him, I'm taking you for 120 days, and each day is a dinar. So each day is a separate deal. So let's say it's 120 dinar. So each day he's deducting one dinar, but the other is a halva till the harvesting comes.
So that's ribis then.
So that's ribis. Fasal hanis memani. Now what
You're
have I
also
know?
saying is ribis, right?
Huh?
You're also saying
So that's what he's asking here. It should be ribis. Medina layoim lagoyin yafa selamuta amai v'hagar natalihu. This is mamish holding on to money and paying interest later by deducting by lowering the price by a quarter. Instead of taking 4 dinar a day, he's taking one.
He's not changing the price, but he's holding. He gave him money.
And he's
but you're
holding
letting
on the
them-
money. The money is not for all the days. Each day is a separate deal. So let's say the first day he worked, but the rest of the money is he's holding on
It's
to
a
it,
loan, and then he has
and
to
he
pay
can back out of the deal.
And he has to pay back.
And they can both back out of the deal. It's not like it's money
because
for the
every day.
work, because every day is a separate deal. So he can back out of it. He says in Befedish. The Hashbam says over here, keeping the Yochel Lachset Bay, the Kol Yom Yom Chashes Chis B'Fnei Yatzmot. It's a separate deal.
So what happens if he backs out? He has to give back the money.
I'll have to own the money, but the mom is it's halva. It's like halva. Says the Gemara, "Amar Rabba v'tisbera." Really? Do you think is that reasonable to say that it's like he's getting money? He's paying money for holding the money. That you're saying that the worker is holding on to money and paying for that money. Where? Zilzuli b'schilas miyasa. Can't a worker drop his price if he's desperate for money? He can say, I can work for nothing. I can work for even a dime. I need money. So that's not considered giving. Dropping a schiras, dropping a salary for yourself because you're desperate to get the
You know
job.
what I mean? Instead of getting paid.
He's not paying. It's not considered as, it's dropping a price is not considered as giving. You're giving, it's not considered you're paying
But he's holding
for
on
the
to
money.
though. He's holding on to
Yeah, but he's not giving in exchange for it. He's dropping the price. Dropping the price is not considered as giving in exchange for the
Every
money.
day, so the next day he's holding on to 29.
Correct.
so-
But am I paying for it? If I'm drop the price during the harvest time, that's not called paying. I'm not giving money. I'm allowed to drop a price. That's what he's saying. Dropping the price is not considered as giving money.
How do we treat this 29 sloy that he's still holding? Every day he's taking the sales, right?
He's deducting, you're right, it's money. So what? Even if it was alva, but he's not paying for it. By dropping the price, he's not paying. He's not giving money. He dropped the price. He's allowed to drop the price. He needs the deal. He needs the money. It says if there's so many workers, but no matter if this guy doesn't have what to eat, he's ready to drop the price. Then almost whatever I get, I'll be happy. I can eat.
What's the status of the 29 sloy that he's still holding every day?
Even if you say it's alva,
Well, what is
but
it right
he's
now?
not-
What's the status of it?
he's getting paid. He's paid him for the work. You're saying every day is a separate deal. Naniach. So the rest of the money is alva. Good. This that he lowered the price is not considered paying for the alva. Okay, Zog the Gemara, Maishna Reisha, Maishna Sefer. If so, what's the difference between the Reisha and the Sefer? Why in the Reisha you say, oh, that's ribis? Why? Because he took the money, he's not working, he starts harvesting time for a lower price. That's ribis. And the Sefer, even though each day is a different deal, that's not ribis. Why? If you're saying the concept is that he's not giving by lowering the price, doesn't mean that he's paying for the loan. So what's the difference in the ratio? Even though he gave him the money up front, but when it comes to harvesting time, he lowers the price. We said that's not considered paying for the loan.
He said he's allowed to do it.
He's allowed to lower the price.
So it's not ribis.
So it's not ibis. So why did you make a difference between why did Reishi call it ibis and the sefer not? And if you want to Reishi loika, the loika b'hadei ma'ashto mersepek haga natali. He says here it's pashat marasayim. It looks like ibis. He gives him money up front, no Reishi. He's not working for a month. Let's say he gave him 2 months earlier. Then when the harvesting time comes, he drops the price. That looks like ibis. But if he starts working from the minute he gave him the money, that's different. Doesn't I'm saying. Yeah, now it's all about looks. Yeah, Seifa the carpet b'hadei b'hashta. In the Seifa, since the pearl starts working immediately from now, it doesn't look like he's holding on to money and he's paying for it later. He's working right away for the money. So in the Mishnah continue. We said by the flax, if he even ripped out a little bit of the flax, he was kind of the whole flax. He's kind of the whole pishtan because he gave a little rip out with the 2 pieces of flax. All the flax is his out from the ground. He ripped out. He cut it. Whatever. He said, "Go and better make a chazak in the karka. Make the karka better." And through that, you better chazak in the karka, and you'll be kind of everything on top of the karka. So what did he do? Through ripping the pishtan, the flax, he made the karka better. He made it now you can plow. He ripped out all the flax. And now you can plow. You can make the field a better field. That's called a chazak b'karka. Karka is niknis b'chazaka. And now he's kind of everything on top of it.
Even though he pulled out only one flax?
Yes.
So he's kind of the rest
All the rest of it, because he did a chazaka. That's called a. That's how he was kind of the karka through a chazaka by ripping it out and making the karka better.
It's not because of the flight. He's going to work, make it better.
He made it better. That's called a chazaka. Once you make a chazaka is you're kind of the karka and you're kind of everything on top of it. Okay, zok the Mishnah. Somebody who sells wine and oil to his fat, the hooker, and it went up in price. It went down in price. And if it went up in price, the Meicha says, I don't want to sell now. It's worth much more. Or it went down in price, and the Meicha says, for this price, I'm not taking it. It's down now. I don't want to pay now the lower price. I want to pay the lower price. Yeah. So we had this before. If he didn't fill up the pitcher yet with the merchandise, then who does it belong to? La Meicha. It still belongs to the Meicha. We said it's in the third person's cup. It's not in the cup of the Meicha Lekech. It's the broker's cup. So if it's filled, so the broker's masking. Kolzman, it's not filled. The merchandise belongs to the Meicha. Mission, both can have it. Mission is Malay Samida. But once the merchandise was filled to the top, so the Keli, they made a deal that the broker said if it fills up with merchandise, then it belongs to the Lekeach, and there's no backing out.
And the price, whatever it is.
Whatever it is that they made up. If at that time it was
Even
finished.
though it went down or went up.
Yeah, we don't care. If he filled it up to the top, it belongs to the Lekeach. Before, it belongs to the Meicha. Says, if there was a broker in between them, that the broker, what does a broker do? He buys from the Meicha for a cheaper price. He sells the Lekeach. He's a broker. He makes money. Business. Yeah. If the chavis broke by the sarsa, by the broker, he bought it off the meicha. He didn't yet sell it to lekeach, and the pitcher broke. It's his problem. It's his responsibility. It's his loss. It's the broker's loss. Yeah, yeah. And the Gemara says by yaim v'shemen, and that's why the Mishnah chapped on yaim v'shemen because of this chidush. Really, the Mishnah didn't have to say meicha yaim v'shemen. In these in the Gemara, you could have said everything, but Yaim Hashem is found no chachidish that we're going to say now.
Whose chavis was it
when it broke? The sarsas.
It was his.
Yes.
So what's the chiddush versus
Oh, so it says by Yaim Hashem, it says v'chayiv the meicha when he pours out wine into the kad, into the pitcher of the lekeach. So not only he pours out, he has to wait till 3. Once it's finished pouring out fast. He has to wait for the last for 3 drops to come out. The last 3 drops.
Good to the last drop.
Good to the last drop. That's the lashon.
Good to the last drop.
Yeah. You have to let after you poured out the whole card. He says there's still little drops on the walls, and if you hold it down, the drops will come down. Wait till 3 drops. Sagt die Gemara, into the key of the Lekeach. He kiva, says the Gemara, what's it he tilted, the Meicha tilted the pitcher. It was a barrel. He tilted the barrel to the side. And when you tilt the barrel to the side, so from all the walls and from the floor, they start accumulating. It becomes, there's liquid, and it can become into a little bit of a drop, more drops, right? When you take the barrel, you have little drops like sweat all around. But when you turn it to the side, it accumulates.
Right.
So he says now, umeitzatz, and he drains out. Now he's draining out. When you tilt it aside, you drain it out, all the wine or oil. So he says, who does it belong to? When you're draining, it takes a long time because it's a little sweat till it comes to the side. So he says that belongs to the meicha. And the chemini does not have to. So till now we said this ikina. We're not talking about a chemini. We said till 3 drops, and then the further more than 3 drops. More than 3 drops means you're taking the keli and you're shaking it and you're waiting till it accumulates more. It's called draining all whatever there's left. That belongs to the meicha. We can not the lekech. He doesn't have time. We're going to learn later. Lekech is not going to wait for it. That's exactly what he's. It really belongs to the lekech, but the lekech is meicha. He's miyayish. He said, "Gate fight for them. I'm not going to wait. My time is worth more than these." Yeah. Says the Gemara, and the storekeeper in chayv lahativ shalish tipin. When it comes to a storekeeper, he doesn't have to wait. He doesn't have to give those 3 drops to the lekeach. He has no time. He has a whole line of people. He just fills it. He keeps it. The Chamini keeps it for himself. He doesn't have time to wait for the 3 drops to come out while he has a long line of people, because people will run away from the store.
Who does have to wait?
Huh?
So who does have to wait for those 3 drops to go?
A regular meicha has to do the 3 drops. He's not a storekeeper.
What do you mean, the distributor?
A regular balabayas who's selling his wine, a private guy. The storekeeper, you're right. I was standing with the Shmuel Isaac Popek. Me and my father was standing behind him, and somebody was paying him pennies. He was screaming, "They should have got rid of these pennies. Look, we're waiting." It's time is money. Nobody wants to wait. People will run away from the store. This was in the country. So he says,
All the good stores.
he says, a Chamini doesn't have to wait till the 3 drops come out. He's going to lose his customers. He has a line of people that he has to attend to. Rabbi Yehuda says, when? Erev Shabbos, but that's when a person doesn't have time. You don't have to wait for the 3 drops. Other days, yes. So we're going to know who are we talking about. Are we talking? Is Rabbi Yehuda saying for the meicha that the meicha out of Shabbos? Normally the meicha always has to drop the 3 tippim, but out of Shabbos not. Or he was saying no, b'negeya to the Chamini, the only time that we say he could keep those 3 tippim is out of Shabbos. So the Gemara is going to explain that later. So the Gemara, who does the kli belong to? If you're going to say it belongs to lekeach. Says the Gemara, how could it be? If it's the keli of the lekeach, so we learned that if it's the keli of the lekeach, rishon kana, he's kind of right away. Even the little drop, the first drops come to him. So why does he have to wait till the midah fills up? If it belongs to the lekeach, he's kind of right away. How could you say if it's not filled up right away, it belongs? Kolzman is not filled up, it belongs to the meicha. It belongs to the meicha. The meicha, of course. It doesn't belong to the meicha. If it's lekeach's picture, the first we learned in yesterday, Rishon Kana, the first drops that come in, he's already kind of. It's his keli. Says you want to be the lekeachi. So middle lekeachi, you're gonna say. And the lekeach is kind of immediately everything that's measured. So I'm sorry, Frank, what a middle lekeach. So he's kind of right away, like we said, Rishon Kana. So you can't say it's middle lekeach. Well, and only who are you going to say the picture belongs to? Middle the meicha. It belongs to the meicha, and you said only till it fills up, then it will belong to the lekeach.
There'll be a final sale.
Then it will be a final sale. Frank, how could you say that? Mission is malas middle lekeach. You're saying once it fills up, now it goes to lekeach? How could you say that? Mida the meicha. It's the picture of the meicha. And the lekeach, how did the lekeach acquire the kalim? And you can't say, and we're talking about it was besimta. Besimta is so, and it's lekeach's keli. Everybody has a place. So how would the lekeach be kainit if it's not his keli? It has to be his keli in a simta to be kainit. And if you're going to say it's in the meiches shus, and the keli, so only when it fills up it belongs to the lekech. But if it's in the meiches shus, and you're going to say, I'm sorry, it's in the lekech shus, even though it's the meiches kli, right? So you're going to want to say that the karka overrides the keli. So then we should be patient from here that the karka overrides the keli. No, is that right?
Either way, is it positive?
So he says, as long as if it's the meiches pitcher, the lekeach shouldn't be kainet till he does a meshicha.
Even in lekeach rishus?
Even in lekeach rishus, because we didn't finalize which one overrides, the keli or the karka. We were left with a shaila. And if you're going to say the lekeach's karka overrides it, we should have answered that from this mishnah. Is that we don't have an answer. So it can be it's the meiches keli. And the lekeach is kainet. How could it be kainet if when the meiches is shus? Oh, so he says from the so he says the it didn't belong not to the meicha, not to the lekeach, because it won't work out. The lekeach won't work out because you're saying only when it fills up it becomes lekeach. If it's the lekeach's pitcher, you should be kainet right away. And if it belongs to the meicha, what do you say when it's filled up in the meicha's pitcher? Then it belongs to lekeach. How does it belong to lekeach?
Even though it's lekeach rishus.
Doesn't matter. We said that rishus doesn't override it. So we said we don't know. Says the Gemara. Rather, whose keli is it? A third person. The broker's keli, and the broker says, "Look, it's the meiches till it fills up. Once it fills up, it belongs to the lekeach. The broker macht the abshore. Yovay ashlishi v'yachri v'neim.
The lekeach has to take it out of this keli. He can't go home with it.
The sisur, yeah, he'll get back his keli, but it has nothing to do with the lekeach and the meicha." Zok the Gemara, really? You're talking about the broker's keli? Look what it says further. I mean, the Ktani Sefer, we learned in the Sefer of the Mishnah, it says if the sarsa, the broker, there was a broker between them, and the chavis broke, nishbira l'sarsa. So whose responsibility? The brokers. Miklal, the previous case, the Reisha, Labi Sarsu Askinan was not talking about that. There was a broker. The whole broker shaft that came up was actually the Sefer. So obviously in the Reisha, there was no broker. Says Imam, it's not true. So Reisha b'mida b'loy Sarsa. Reisha is talking about that the Sarsa say, I'm not the broker in the deal, but I'm going to let you have my kelis. Meaning, you can use my keli till it fills up. It belongs to the meicha. Once it's filled up, it belongs to the lekeach. That's the deal. I'll make the piece, but I'm not making any profits here. This doesn't matter. It's simta. You can say simta. Yeah. Says you got a sefer, but the sefer is b'sisa atzmai. The sefer it says that the broker loses if it breaks in his shoes. It's talking about a real broker. He bought it from the meicha, and he's planning to sell it for more to the lekeach. Zok the Gemara, Hirkino mitzes harei shomeicha. We learned if you tilt the barrel and to drain out all the rest of the drops, it belongs to the meicha. Kisal Rabbi Lezer, when Rabbi Lezer went up to from Bava to Eretz Yisrael, he found Ziri. On the late, Rabbi Lezer said to Ziri, "Mi kan Tana hasnei Rav midas." Show me which Tana learned by Rav this topic of midas. Benegay is selling the wine and the oil, b'mida, when it fills up, it belongs to the lekeach. Before, it belongs to the meicha. Who's giving somebody?
Who's the expert here?
Who learned from Rav about these midas? Because I want to ask a question. Achviya, the Ziri shows. Oh, Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi, he's the one that knows. Okay, good. So Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi sees he's pointing to him. So Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi says to him, Amalei. Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi says to Rav Lezer, Maiko Kashila. What's your problem? What's your question on this that Rav said? So he says, "That's not me." Yeah, Rabbi Lezer want to know who's the expert here. He said that. So Ziri showed him Ravacha by Rav Dimi. I'm sorry, Rav Yitzchak Rav Dimi, who learned by Rav. He knows exactly. So Rav Yitzchak saw that Rabbi Lezer is asking these questions. So he says, "What's your question?" So he says, "Look, you said it not in our Mishnah. We learned that you learned by Rav. Hikino meitzes. He tilted the barrel and he drained out all the wine. We said that draining belongs to the meicha. So Rabbi Lezer says, how could you say that? But now we learned in the Mishnah. Hikino mitza areizu truma. We said when it comes to a kohen, and the person who's giving to the kohen is like the meicha, right? So he's he's giving. He's the one that's giving. He tilts the barrel. We said he doesn't keep the drops, the drainage. It has to go to the kohen. So you have a stira. Here you said that the meicha keeps all the last drops when he tilts it. He doesn't give it to nobody. He keeps them for himself. When it comes to a kohen, he said, no, I must give him some kohen. Why? Amalei. So he answered, Hayit Mala. We learned. We gave from nothing. You get the whole thing. So he said, Mishum Yesh Bailam Nagba. So he said, because of Yesh Bailam, when it comes to mumminess, yeah, the Bailam could be Meichel. Even Mayayish, make it Havke, it can be Meichel. But over here, we're talking about Truma, which is Isur. Even if the Kohen says, I'm not ready to wait for you to tilt your barrel and everything, I have no time. The Meichel has to do it, he cannot keep it, it's Isur. We can't use it. Yeah. So we looked in the Mishnah here. What I told you at the end of the Mishnah, he's explaining. We said a storekeeper, when he pours the wine, he doesn't have to wait after he poured out the whole wine for another 3 drops to come out to the last drop. It's good to the last drop, like we said. Rabbi Yehuda, this that Rabbi Yehuda said, that out of Shabbos, im chashecha, the guy could keep the drop. He doesn't have to give the drops. Who was he referring to? To a regular balabas who sells, who normally the meicha keeps. Normally the meicha has to give the 3 drops, and Rabbi Yehuda came to be meichel, but out of Shabbos he doesn't have to. Or Rabbi Yehuda was talking about a chemveni, a storekeeper. He wants to be machmer, even though the storekeeper has a lot of people, he has no time. The only time he can use that excuse is Erev Shabbos. But during the week, he has to give the full 3 drops to the person who's selling it.
No time.
We don't care about the person buying it. Yeah. Rabbi Yehuda Reisha Kai Ulakula, is he going on the Reisha on a regular meicha, and he's telling you, even though a regular meicha has to give it away, but Erev Shabbos he doesn't, he wants to say. Or perhaps he's talking about the Sefer. Chemeni, he has to, no matter what, even though he has a lot of people waiting for him.
Even it's Friday also.
No, but the only exception that Yehuda says will be lenient is only Friday, but the rest of the week, he has to give it. Tashma says, to the last drop. Tashma says, I'll answer you. Tanya, we learned in the Brayso. Yehuda Ima, Erev Shabbos, Im Chashecha, Chemveni Potter. So he's referring dafka to the chemeni. A meicha has to give the 3 drops even on Erev Shabbos. A chemeni is part of mipnei shechemeni tarud, because the chemeni is tarud. Right. So he's only parted by Erev Shabbos, not during the week. Somebody sends his son to a storekeeper, upundian biyadei, and he gave him 2 isarim. A pundian is a matbei shel kesef that's worth 2 isar. And the Chamani gave him a measure of oil worth 1 isar. And then he gave him change. He gave the child change. I gave you only 1 isar. You gave me 2, a matbeya that's worth 2 isar. He gave him a $2 bill, and he gave him for $1 oil. So now he gives him back. He puts oil for $1, and he gives him $1. Okay, good. The child going back, he smashed, broke the sluchis, so all the oil is gone. Even the sadina, and he lost and he lost shlamazel, and he lost $1 too. Okay, Hachameli says the Gemara, he knows chayiv. Hachameli chayiv, the storekeeper is chayiv. It's like a gan of kutzadeh in shtub, he gets hurt, and you got to pay. So here, Chemeni is chayiv. Why is the Chemeni chayiv? So Gemara is going to explain later on. Rabbi Yehuda says he's part of Shalmanas King Shalachai because it was in that condition. The father knew he's sending somebody. So it's like he made it hefker because he sent a kid was nishkim badas, and he took responsibility for that. So he made it like hefker. ומעיד חכם לרבי יהודה בזמן שעצלוס ביד התינוק ומדע החמני לסייכה שעוז חמני potter. Chacham are going to be made to Rabbi Yehuda that he's potter. One exception, if the Chemeni never touched the keli. He took oil from his store from one jug and poured it into the child was holding the jug, and he put it into that jug.
Hold the jar with him?
So that, yes, because he was made a kinyan in the jug, and he should have known. Now he has responsibility to return it with a bardas. He should give it to the child, right? We're going to get to it soon. Says I understand, but the coin, the oil, that's understood. Pligi, that the Tanaim are arguing. The Rabbanan Savi, because what do the Rabbanan hold? The Rabbanan said the Chemeni is high. Why? Because the Rabbanan Savi the father didn't send the child to actually take the oil with him and give him money. Rather, he came to notify the storekeeper that my father said that he wants to have oil for the worth of Isa.
He should hold it for him.
And he should send it to a bardas. What did he do? He went.
The child didn't say that, but it's maybe understood.
No, it's self-understood. Of course, that's what it means. That he's going to send the change and with the oil to a bardas. So therefore, if the Chemeni gave it to the child, the money with the oil, as if he's an adult, it's his problem. So therefore, the Chemeni is high. Rabbi Yehuda Sava, the Shaduri Le Shadri. No, the father sent the child on this mission. The father, he didn't care what will happen. So it's like he made it hefker. What comes to me? You sent your child, and you requested I should give it to your child. I did exactly what you wanted. I understand about the oil and the money, but what about the jug? What's the sort of the Chachamim to be mechayiv the storekeeper for the jug? Avedim and Dasi. Didn't the child come with this jug? L'chatchila, he sent him with a jug. If he sent him with a jug, he knew he's making it hefker. It's not just, no, but it's Avedim and Das. He knew it could get lost right away. He gave it to the child to bring it. They're giving it to bring it. So the father knew the child is not shaykh to watch it. It's a risk. So he did it with the kavanah of losing the tzluchis. So why are you blaming the Chemeni that the Chemeni gave him back the tzluchis? Why should he have to pay for it? I'm going to have Ishai Hacha over here. Now Mishnah is talking about the balabaya is meichet tzluchis askima. Here it's talking about that the father, meaning the balabas who sent this child, was a meicha. He sold pictures. The father of the child was a meicha. And he sent it al das that the Chemeni should look at it and to buy it. So we could go into the Torah Chemeni. 1 minute. So in the meantime, the Chemeni looked at it. Of course, the Chemeni took just to check it's good. And he knew that if it's good, he's making a kinyan. It's I don't know if it's breakable, but he checked it out. So if he checked it out, he obviously knew he's going to make a kinyan and be kind of it. And if he wants to back out, he has to. He was already kind of it. He has to be responsible to give it back. The
father sent him that you should look at to see if it's a good.
If he wants to buy it, no, to sell it to him. It says no lebatke bechdei liknoisa. Here, read. Amanas levakra. Amanas levakra lebatka bechdei liknoisa. Imi shleima, if it's complete. And we know it was complete, and he probably made a kinyan, and maybe he backed out.
How is he supposed to
So if he went, that's his job. The Chemeni sends his pictures, and then with a picture of his, that's how he always sends it. No, he sends it with his pictures and then takes it back later. Ukidishmol, and like Shmol. So where do we see the Shmol? Somebody who takes a kli from a tradesman who sells kalim. In order to check it out, to buy it, benenas biyodei, and then it fell out of the buyer, the one that was looking at the merchandise, and it fell out of his hand. He's chayiv. He's chayiv to pay. Here he checked it out. He was kainit. He doesn't like it, so he wants to give it back. So you shouldn't have given it back to the son. You already kainit, so you have to do it in a responsible way.
Just because they're looking at it, he's kainit.
No, he obviously looked, it's complete, and that's why he looked at it to buy it. Then he decided he doesn't want it, let's say. It doesn't mean he backed out. But if he did, but let's say he did back out and he sends it back, he shouldn't send it back with his son because he was already kainet. Says the Gemara later the Shmuel Tanai. Should we say Shmuel is saying like one of the Tanoim, like the Chachamim, and not like Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda says he's pater, and Shmuel says he's chayiv. So you want to say Shmuel holds like the Chachamim against the other Tana of Rabbi Yehuda? It doesn't make sense. Shmuel is on Ameira. Rabbi Yisrael Tavai. Rather, Rabbi Yisrael were both talking about Hacha. It's a storekeeper that sells. It's not the father who's selling it. It's the storekeeper who sells these pitchers.
He also sells oil.
He also sells oil. Like bingo. Bingo you could now buy. Talaskotten, Talasim, besides the food that they sell there. Rabbi Yehuda goes according to his reasoning that he patas a chemini. Why? Because he says that the father had in mind that the chemini should send it to the son. Because why did he send the son? Obviously, it's send it to the son. So therefore, he's pater. And the Chacham go according to their reasoning that a machai the chemini, because it was only to notify the chemini that he wants to buy the pitcher. In fact, if you're talking about it's notifying the chemini, look what it says in the Sefer. In the time when the tzleichis was in the hand of the child, it never went into the chemini's hand. And the chemini poured into the jar. Chemini potter. The chemini is potter. Why? Who cares if it's in the child's hand? But the chemini is the one that's selling the pictures, and he was there to only. The father sent the child just to notify the chemini, but not to give it to the child.
But he's also in the territory of the chemini.
Doesn't matter, but he was there only to notify him. You said so. That's chachamim.
Whose picture was it?
The cheminis.
The chemini gave it, put it into the child's hand.
The chemini put it into the child's hands. Or no, that's true. Or he says even more so that he says that if the tzleichis was the chemini, you're right. So why should it be pater? It belongs to whom? To the chemini. The chemini should have never placed it in the child's hand. It says they both say over here it's talking about you're going shenat lamed. The chemini took from the hand of the child to measure with this keli. Like Rabbi said, he kisha. If the old man is not mechuyev to do hashav saveda, okay, or a talmid chacham is not mechuyev, but if he hits the behema, then he becomes mechuyev to return the aveda. Listen, you have to give him a clap the behema, and his chayiv becomes chayiv. Here also, really the chemini is not mechuyev to send it to a bardas or whatever. But here we're talking about that the cotton came with the keli. But once he took the keli from the cotton to measure, so then he has to, it's like hitting the behema, and he has to make sure to return it. Okay, we're going to have to stop here.